Hello and welcome to episode 88 of the Talk Nintendo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey Gibson, and joining me this fine evening, as always, the one, the only, Mr. Perry Burkham.
Hello, Casey Gibson. This is my first episode recording with my new snowball.
I thought you sounded like crap.
Sorry, I don't have random friends that give me multi-$100 recording equipment.
Yep, you gotta know how to choose them.
That's true. Yeah, you're a real fair weather friend to him. What do you give him?
My enduring friendship and all that jazz.
This is Justin, right?
Yep.
This is the guy that you were like talking down to, and then like he gave you this, and
I was like, man, that Justin, he's a big piece of garbage, and I'm getting sick of him. And then all of a sudden in the mail, it was like,
Casey, please be my friend.
Ding dong. But then you remembered I don't have a mailbox.
Yeah. Oh, what a sick man. But yeah, so we're recording differently. We're recording on Sunday.
This is weird, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm like uncomfortable. This one bit. But yeah, and it's funny because it's like I haven't gotten many video games played. Too many since recording, because usually we have a couple more days.
Yeah, I've got to remember we were talking about how my quick bites could be Runner 3, and then that whole plan went right out the window.
That's right, because it hasn't come out yet. So, yep. But so today we're gonna talk about some. We're still gonna do what we've been playing, still eShop, some news, and we're gonna do listener mail for our show topic. And after that, we may even just have a Craigslist Roundup segment that I forgot to do last week.
Ooh-wee.
Yes. So
some big finds, hopefully.
But now, let's get into what you've been playing, Casey.
What I've been playing.
Yeah, our friends at Circle sent us a code for one of their games, or one of their game collections, I should say.
Yes, and that is Fairune Collection. And yeah, so to start us off here, I had never really heard of Fairune or knew anything about this game going into it. Looking at the screenshots, you could tell it is definitely inspired by old games. Sort of like that NES, maybe early Game Boy kind of experience where it's, sort of like, it looks like Zelda, it's top down, you're moving across sort of like a grid-based world. That was terrible.
Bid-graced.
I got the old bid-graced. right next to my puzz form. Yeah, so it's sort of grid-based, and what's sort of cool about this game is, and I should say that I started out with the first one, the collection has 1, 2, and then it's got one was actually locked, and I couldn't play it yet, and the other one, I want to say it was something about a remake. I'm not exactly sure. Let me see if I can.
If you're not exactly sure,
here it goes.
Shouldn't talk about
Fairune Origin. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if that's just a remake of the original. But yeah, so it's got 4 games included. The one is locked. But yes, I've been playing the first Fairune. And when you first get into it, it's sort of interesting because everything is on the screen at once. So you've got your field of play in the left side, and that takes up about half the screen. And on the right, you have your inventory where it shows all the items you've been holding, and then a map, which, like I said, is sort of grid-based, and as you move from tile to tile, it unlocks, and you can sort of see the overworld developing as you explore it. Now, as I was saying, it's very old school game, so when you get into it, there's not really too much direction. It sort of, gives you a little bit of, like, hey, this is what's up, and then you sort of get the sword, and it's like, all right, good luck, here you go have fun. And the combat itself is pretty relaxed. It's literally you just run into the enemy. So you just, they sort of patrol across the screen in random, sort of patterns, and you just run over them. So when you encounter an enemy that is too high for you, they do a ton of damage to you, and you don't do any damage to them. So, obviously at that point you want to avoid them. Then there are enemies that you can hit, and then they die, but they also do damage to you. And then eventually when you get to a sort of a high enough level, there will be enemies that'll you'll run over, and you won't get any experience, but they won't hurt you either. Sure. So it's like I said, there's not much to the combat as far as you're just literally running over people. And then, like, for me, when I found, like, oh, this screen has 4 enemies that I can kill and get experience. So it's like, all right, I'm just going to run over them all, go up a screen, come back down a screen, run over them all, and sort of rinse and repeat, and then run over to, like, the little area where you can heal. And that's sort of, anytime I find an enemy that I could kill, I just do that until I level up, So it is a little tedious in that sense, and, maybe that's just the way I'm playing it. But honestly, you level up pretty quick, so it's not like you're sitting there for a half hour, doing this. It's like, oh, I spent like 2 minutes sort of killing some enemies, level up, and moving forward. But as far as progressing through the game, you go through, and some of it is definitely obtuse.
Oh, yeah. So I have played, I believe, Fairune 2 on 3DS. I played the demo, because you can get it for free. And exactly, charming style, of course, like everything's saying. Weird how it's grid-based, or did graced, or bid graced.
Bid graced.
Yeah,
yes.
it's like a top-down Zelda, but instead of being able to move anywhere, you move in grids. But it feels like almost the same. It's just it's like pretty smooth, and anyway. But yeah, like walking around, I just was like, unlocking more parts of the area, but it's like I got to a point like half hour in, I was like, I can't find out where to go. I have searched everywhere and I don't know where to go.
Yeah, that's exactly what I ran into playing Fairune 1. I got to a point where, it's like I sort of, all right, I can't get past these areas because it's obvious. Like, oh, there's, looks like a dead tree in the way. Like, I'm going to probably need something to clear that tree out of the way, which I don't have yet. And then I was trying to, like you said, do sort of a process of elimination, and finally I was like, well, I'm really not even sure. So I just went online and, Googled or went to YouTube, I should say.
Goggled?
Google goggled the YouTubes. And then all of a sudden I looked, and the person just pushed a rock, like a random rock on the one screen, and it opened up some stairs. And I was like, okay. I was like, I wonder if maybe there was some sort of hint along the way that would have pushed me to doing that, and that I just completely missed, or if it really is sort of going for that really, classic, we're obtuse to be tough kind of thing, like just sort of figure it out. But
old school.
Yeah, but either way, that didn't really feel great. But once I opened that, then I didn't run into any other situations where it was purely like obtuse sort of guessing game like that. I felt everything from that point made sense. There was one point where I missed an item and I wasn't sure, so I did again. I went and I sort of looked where it was, and I was like, oh, that one dark room that I went out the one door, there was actually another door above that went into just a one screen room that had a pickaxe in it. So I was like, I guess, if I didn't know better, I would have had to have gone and look and sort of hope to see that, but the room itself was dark, so, you only have a little bit of light around your character, so it was like, that was a little frustrating, but, it's funny because at first I'm like, this game, like, I don't think I really like this game, it's not exactly my style, I don't like that sort of guessing and hoping to find something, but as I kept pushing through it, I actually, sort of was embracing it and actually sort of enjoying it. I have not beaten it, and I don't think these are particularly long games. I think you could probably beat each one within a matter of a couple hours, especially, if you knew what you're doing, you could probably do it even quicker. But, I am not all the way through. I collected. I feel like I made actually pretty good progress because, like I said, I figured I was like, this might be a game, that I sort of play like half hour, and it's just not for me. But, then all of a sudden, like, I over an hour to kept playing, and, I actually would like to get back and at least finish the first one. I don't know if I'll, push through and do the second and, see what the other games are included. But
it could be put into the backlog by you.
The old Bayou. But
we all know that's never going to be touched ever again.
Yeah, that one's sinking right to the bottom.
No games, as like it.
Once it hits the bayou, it's gone.
Back in the Wii U days, right? There was hope for the backlog Bayou, but
yeah, the Bayou.
Baby.
It had some rough days during the Wii U because not many games made it there.
No, that was its heyday. Or that, yeah.
No, the Wii U now the Bayou's freaking. Business is good, but
right, business is good for depositing, just not withdrawing.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, once it hits the bayou, it's like, does it ever really have any hope to be played?
Not anymore. Not with the Switch.
But yeah, I mean, it's weird to sort of talk about this game. I think if you really like, your classic NES games, you are into retro games. I know a lot of people like to collect them, but if you're into that gameplay and you really want to sort of, play a smaller experience, and then, the collection itself sort of makes that small experience sort of a big one if you really want to dive into all it has to offer. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised that I actually, sort of did enjoy it after playing a little bit of it. It didn't seem like it was my cup of tea at first, and like I said, it's not something I would, beat my chest for hey, everyone, you got to check this game out, But for a certain set of people, I really think it probably hits that spot of nostalgia, and, I could see it definitely having an audience.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I mean, like I said, it was just kind of like I was checking out the demo before, and it was like I like the gameplay. I like how it looks. It's clean and nice and cute, but yeah,
cute little soundtrack too.
I like these collections they're putting out on Switch. I think it's a good idea for all little games. Now we just need. So we had the Mercenary Saga. Now we just need them to make more Ninja Striker games.
Yeah, that Ninja Striker, man, good game.
Now I don't know if those are the same developers. With
Circle. It is Fly High Works, which is they did Fairune, and I believe they did Ninja Striker as well.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe we should figure that out.
I'm looking. I'm trying to be quick on the draw here, but let's see. Yeah.
Let's say they did Kamiko.
Well, here you go. Ninja Striker is developer by Cucumber Factory. That's Q-Cumber Factory. Publisher is Fly High Works. Now, if you go to Fairune...
Isn't it weird? And Fly High helped publish Golf Story.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
really
you go...
Interesting.
Publisher is Fly High Works for Fairune. It does not say who the developer was, at least on Nintendo's site. But yes.
All right, cool. All right, well, that's the Fairune Collection.
Yes. Now, this next game, I believe, is a game we've both been playing, but I'll let you take the lead here because they're probably sick of me rambling.
Yeah, you stink.
On us.
You stink on ice, which
we all know.
Think about it. If you stink on ice, you must stink pretty bad. No, so I love we're getting to the point where all the games that we played at PAX, we can finally play them at home in the comfort, and which is always way better. And this next game was one of our favorite games from PAX, I'd say. Just most anticipated. I think that's fair to say, right, Case?
Yeah, I think. Well, this was tied with The Messenger. Those were the two games that really jumped out at me. But
yeah, and it's one of our favorites.
And it's funny because they're both sort of that really nice pixel art, which sort of jumped out of the page. But this was definitely the surprise because we'd all seen The Messenger on the Nintendo sort of indie highlight, and this was a game we had no idea really going into PAX, and yeah, we were taken aback.
Yeah, and I'm going to announce the game because people are frothing at the bit.
Yeah.
What is this magical game? It's a game that I've been able to talk with Casey via text with a couple emojis.
Yeah, it works out really well with the emojis, and I feel like at this point I'm just sort of rambling on just to keep the suspense building.
I know.
Yeah, and then we also need to pad out the episode a little bit because of our lack of new things to talk about. So,
all right. So, are you ready, Case?
Drum roll, please.
Yeah, let's have a countdown.
All right, 20, 19.
And that game is...
Which we'll tell you right after this break.
Oh. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Dude, should we actually take a break?
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah,
Let's take a break. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to tell you what game we're talking about.
Alrighty, we are back. I know Perry probably put in like a nice 20-minute instrumental right there for you guys to indulge and listen to, and I think it's finally time to sort of reveal what this game is. I don't know. I mean, now I'm getting nervous. It won't live up to the hype, and people will be...
maybe we should save this for next week.
Yeah. On that note...
Mystery history! No. The game that we have been playing is, and I quote...
Fox and Forests. Woo, doctor.
Yes, Fox and Forests. This is a game that I just need to say because they deserve it. Best booth at PAX, hands down. Absolutely best booth. Do you remember their booth?
Oh yes, there were pretzels and snacks and drinks, and everyone was unbelievably friendly.
Oh yeah, Christopher is one of the guys he set up all this stuff there.
Yes, the PR man himself.
Yes, and he's a super nice guy. Offered us pretzels and drinks like pop, and it was nice because at PAX getting food is literally like a hard thing to do. Like, it is a very big time commitment if you want to get food.
With all the lines and everything, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, so I literally like had a pretzel. Like Chris gave me lunch.
Yeah.
It was very, very convenient. So it's like, now this is business. It's like how Hank Hill would do business.
Good old Hank.
You know, he'd get the pie. Now start with the pie, and if it's going south, then get it a la mode. Then you have somewhere to go. But Fatherton. But yes, Chris, and then Rupert, the maker of the game, which we're gonna try to get an interview with him soon. But yes, so Fox and Forest is this wonderfully gorgeous pixel art game that really, and this is coming from Rupert himself. I mean, they just wanted to create a game that looked and played like an SNES game. And I think they totally nailed it. But I mean, the colors are just so pretty.
Oh, it's visually, I mean, I know that I am a sucker for some nice pixel art, and there have been plenty of games that, do it very well, but just the range of colors. I mean, just essentially in the game you're a fox, and you end up meeting this bird, and you talk to what's called the season tree, and you need to get pieces of bark to yada yada yada. Story aside, the season tree is unbelievable to look at. It has so many colors within the leaves, and it's just, I think it is one of the coolest looking
pixelated
pixelated characters I've ever seen. It's just
absolutely
like the animation of when it speaks, and then just how, like I said, how vibrant the leaves colors are, and oh man, and it doesn't stop there. One of the main mechanics in the game is switching seasons, and I think that's where just some of the appreciation that's like when I would stop to like, wow, this game is gorgeous, is when you're switching between seasons. And at one point it's like it's beautiful spring day out, birds are out, and then you can switch it, and then all of a sudden it's winter and it's snowy, and it has that feeling, and it just, to me, it is really one of the most beautiful pixel art games I've ever seen.
Yeah. And I guess let's talk about the gameplay. So it's a side-scrolling platformer. I can't really think of a very direct, obvious comparison on the SNES, but it's just a beautiful kind of, the character's not too small and it's not gigantic. It's just like a medium-sized platformer. It's level-based. The levels are big though.
Yeah, they're long.
Very big, with a really cool mechanic with Retro, the
dang badger.
His name's Retro, and he collects retro games, and it kind of has that Shovel Knight thing in a sense where it's kind of a little comparable to Shovel Knight, like at the level length, because and there's checkpoints basically with Retro. If you want to, you can pay him to unlock the checkpoint, but if you want to keep going and risk it, you can do that. And I've
don't
found
risk
out
it.
That it's yeah, pay the dang badger.
Oh, it's so funny because the first time I encountered him, I was like, 20 gold pieces. It's like, I don't need
20.
I can't afford that.
Yeah.
And and then all of a sudden I went and I died like 2 seconds later. And then I was like...
And then you went way far back.
I go all the way back to the beginning of the level. And, like, none of that was particularly hard.
I know.
But it's just, like, time-consuming.
I know. It's old... That's what I mean. It's totally old school in that sense. And I honestly like that because it actually gives this actual value. Because, you do want the gold because you can purchase upgrades after you're done to your character. So you do want it, but... Then it's like, okay, I'm on top of things right now. I can push past. And there are some times where I haven't paid Retro because it's like, well, it's 100, because the price
it's
goes
like
up,
exponential. Like, I feel like,
yeah,
like I don't think
now
quite
it's like,
is, but
yeah, like it gets up to like, I mean, where I'm at, it's like 150 coins. It's like, well, I think I'm doing fine if I can just take it nice and slow and steady. I won't give up the coins.
Dead.
And then maybe I'll get them next time. No, and I actually do it. I actually make it. Because you can play a little.
Conservative.
So one of the problems I've had with the game, not with the game itself, but just like when I make mistakes, is just falling into an empty pit when I don't, because you don't know what's beneath you. I don't know if you've done that because you're climbing trees a lot, and you'll jump down and actually there's a pit. And I found out that if you hold down and crouch for like a couple seconds,
it lowers the screen.
The camera will pan. And which is really nice. So people who are getting it, remember that. But yeah, so you make your way, and then like you said, the big difference here, and it's a really smooth mechanic from what I've been playing, is that you hit the R button, or the RZ, or LZ, and it'll switch the season to another specified season. So per level, sometimes it goes from summer to winter. Sometimes it goes from summer to fall. It just all depends, but you're just switching between two seasons. But they go through the seasons, right? I mean, at least where I'm at, I've played I've played probably a couple hours. So anyway, you go through, and when you switch your season, basically what I've noticed is there's a benefit that shows up in that other season. So it's the switching is very beneficial to you. So it's like, well, why don't you just keep it there all the time? Well, I would if I could. It uses
but you can't.
Magic. Yeah, it uses up a magic part. So there's this very smart, well-balanced mechanic here, because you can't just keep it in the other season. You got to go back to the others. So For instance, yeah, I mean, we've all, if you've seen the interview we did with him already at PAX, playing through the first level, you can switch it to, you know, the water will freeze, and now you can walk over the water. Otherwise, you fall into the pit. And I quickly realized you have to be touching the ground to switch.
Oh yeah, that it's so annoying.
If you tried jumping and then like switching in midair, and
especially that gets a little confusing because you can switch it back at any point. You know, you could be in the air while switching back. But yeah, there have definitely been times when I've like, oh, I need to jump on that frozen water that's not frozen yet, but like I'll just jump and do it in midair, and then all of a sudden you're adios.
Thinking about it now, it makes sense because then otherwise, whenever you fall, you could switch it.
Yeah,
Usually that also, you know what I mean. So if it makes it a little more punishing. The game is, I mean, I don't know about you, but the game is like, you know, not easy. I mean, it's a pretty hard game.
Yeah, I think it strikes a good balance because, for me, I feel like usually in platformers, it's me just being a jerk and like, okay, like, I screwed up doing this one thing. Like, I should not do that again. But, like, in my brain, it's like, oh, well, I could do it. And then I end up trying, like, the same thing too many times until I'm like, let me just reevaluate. Like, oh, okay, like, just do this one little thing and it'll fix it all, you know? So I guess, for me, I feel like it's not necessarily the game being overly difficult, but, like, me just being stubborn with platformers. Right. But, yeah, no, the game itself definitely has some challenge to it. And, you know, there are 3 different difficulties, so you can, you know, when you start the game, you could start at normal, but you could also go easy or hard, and, you know, obviously that'll affect it as well, but, yeah, on the standard setting, I feel like it's a nice difficulty level, because there is challenge to it, you know, you're not just going to walk through it, you know, all willy-nilly, but it's not so hard that you're, you know, slamming your head against the wall for hours on end.
Yeah, and as far as to paint, you know, a better picture, as far as platformers genres go, I think that it's a lot. There's a lot of Metroidvania elements placed inside. You have the permanent upgrades that you get. Also, you will be going through levels again to find hidden objects or to find, you know, collectible objects. So let's say you'll unlock a skill so that you can you can get to other parts in the level to find these seeds, and then once you find seeds, you'll unlock new parts of the forest and new levels thusly.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't like having to go back and replay certain levels for progression based. I generally don't like being gated by like things like that. So, you know, there are definitely so essentially how the game works is obviously there's 4 seasons, right, in the world, and each season has 2 levels, then a boss. So there are not a lot of levels in this game. There are one bonus stage per season that you only unlock when you collect all of the seeds. So, you know, the seeds, as Perry said, some are locked behind having an ability that you gain further down the road. So you're going to have to come back if you want to see those bonus stages, but also you're going to have to come back and get some seeds, most likely. I mean, unless if you're really going completionist up to that point. But I got to the point where I had 3 seasons unlocked, and I actually had to go back to older areas and get seeds to unlock the 4th area, despite beating the boss, you know, in that 3rd area. So you will have to go back and replay levels to actually push forward, which, like I said, is not my favorite feeling. I generally don't like that too much. Fortunately, the demand, you know, or the level of seeds needed, you know, is not so high that it, like, I found it to be, you know, like struggling to find these seeds. Like, I was able to go back, do a couple of extra levels, you know, maybe a 2nd or 3rd time depending, and, you know, was able to get it relatively quick. But I just don't personally love that feeling.
You know, I totally understand that. This doesn't bother me too much in this game because you have the chance of getting more gold and I want to get more money so I can upgrade my character more.
It's
so going through the levels isn't too painful. It's not like you're just treading for just to find. You're actually gaining stuff as well.
Well, it's funny you say that because I actually I'm sort of in the process of writing the review as we not literally as we speak, but before recording tonight and and likely after recording, which will, by the way, be up on NintendoWorldReport.com and over on NWR TV. There'll be a video review. But I literally said that same exact thing. I was like, I was talking about how you had to revisit levels, which is sort of a bummer, but fortunately, you do get that gold to unlock new abilities, and I found that to be really cool. I like that, unlocking literally new abilities, but also upgrading your life and your or not your HP, your magic, meter as well. And like I said, that sort of alleviated the pain of going back to levels because at least you're making bank.
Yeah, absolutely. And I not to. Just so we can, I feel like I haven't touched too much about the gameplay, but it's crazy how many variations of like weaponry you have. Like you can, so basically, if you hit the attack button, just while you're if you're standing still, is that it? Then he'll shoot arrows, and then you can shoot them straight out, and you can even unlock different kinds of arrows. Which they've shown before, like I had those unlocked on our interview with him.
And that's sort of how certain parts of the level are gated, are because of those arrows.
Yeah. So you start off and you can shoot arrows, and then you can also do melee attacks by like holding down and then like kind of crouching and hitting or jumping. So, and then if you jump, you can do a melee attack in the air, but if you double jump, you can't. So you can sacrifice that. And so the game gets hard because it's like, I mean, at the beginning, you're like, man, this is like tough because, some enemies are hard to kill with what I have. So you make your way through it, and then afterwards you go to the shop and you find out that you can actually unlock, more attacks, like the ability to do a melee attack on your second jump. And it's like, oh, and it's such a good feeling. And honestly, that was the I always talk about these feelings in the podcast, but like that moment when it really hits you and it's like, oh, I'm totally digging this. That's when it happened, when I got that upgrade.
And that's a super powerful move too.
The powerful, and it's like, man, this game is super hard, but I've earned the ability to do this, and now it's easier, Now I'm way more awesome, when I attack other people. So, and then you get more stuff, and I'm not gonna go into more detail, but I mean, you can get more stuff, more new moves, and it's a good progression. I really enjoy it. So
I think we should also mention that the bosses are pretty fun too. Like how many seasons have you finished? Did you say?
Well, I beat the first boss, and then I think I beat the first level of the second season.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not going to get into spoilers on the bosses, but the bosses are fun, and they always
they're cool,
and
they're huge and pretty,
and they always sort of have that element of switching seasons involved too. So it's like usually there's like a phase that you have to deal with, and then like, oh, and now I need to switch the ability or the seasons to do something, whether it be environmentally or however it affects the boss. But yeah, I thought the bosses were fun. And
yeah, absolutely.
And even some of the levels, sort of one of the levels actually sort of turns into almost like a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up variant as well. So
oh man, I'm so glad you just mentioned that.
So yeah, that was actually probably one of my favorite levels, was when they switched that whole formula up on you, and it feels good.
Spoilers.
It's pretty early on.
Yeah, maybe it's my next level.
I think it is.
So I'm going to tell you, this is kind of going off on a tangent. This isn't so much about Fox and Forest, but it inspired me when I was showing this to Aaron at work, and I was playing through it, and I got to thinking, because, Fox, Star Fox, I was thinking...
Grand Prix?
No, I was thinking, what if this was the Star Fox Adventures? What if what if they made a really cool pixelated Star Fox game that played like this, where you have your blaster instead, and then you could play it co-op with like Peppy and Slippy going through worlds like this, and then it could sub off between side-scrolling action platforming and then shoot 'em up, like
literally,
legit,
yeah,
like side-scrolling, because it's like Star Fox, you know. We've talked about like doing a retro Star Fox before, going back to a shoot 'em up, but I think that having a hybrid like this would be so stinking cool. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it'd probably be the best Star Fox game ever.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, good. We're on the same page, because that's what I was thinking too. I was like, this sounds amazing, because they could do so many cool things.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Rupert and his team should have pitched this to Nintendo to make a Star Fox game. Star Fox Adventures Retro.
With a Z. But yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think for me, just to put a bow on my thoughts, I think Fox and Forest is a good game. To me, it's not like a great game. And I don't want to mean that in like a negative way or anything, where like I don't think, like, I'm not trying to say people shouldn't play this game. I just think like, to me, it's a very solid game. You know, like, it has some faults that I don't love. Obviously, I think it looks gorgeous, but I sort of wish there was a little bit more, some more levels to check out. Like you said, the levels themselves are long. They're meaty, you know, so while they're really only a handful per season, you know, they are, you know, and it's not like you're running through them in 2 seconds. It did take quite a few hours to actually see the game through. But I almost wonder if, you know, if maybe they'd gone smaller levels, and maybe sort of added a few more, and then could play some more with the environmental changes, you know. But I do think if you are into platformers, especially, you know, you were around in the Super Nintendo era, and those are sort of your jam, it does definitely give off those nostalgic Super Nintendo feels.
Yeah, that's where I want to say, like, I think kind of what you're kind of saying is it really harkens back to how Super Nintendo games played. So it really, like, it's not really much of a, okay, remember how they did play, this is what you remember, but adding in modern elements. It's pretty much a straight throwback to Super Nintendo games. Not too many modern elements put in, you know? So it does have that old school obtuseness in parts. It does, you know, it does have that feeling.
Yeah,
and as far as the levels and stuff, I wonder how that would work. I bet they thought about that, you know? I think it probably puts more of a, I think what they were thinking, because it's like this level in this first area is the summer and winter area, and then this one is the spring and fall area. So that way we can, instead of breaking them up, we can do them in one, and, you know, it puts more of like an epicness to each chapter, you know, to each level, rather than having just a bunch of small levels. You know what I mean? So having like a common theme, you know, like you get to the second world, and then there's like those some really cool, neat ideas that come up, like you said. I love when you're sliding on the zip lines, you know?
Oh yeah, that's always
that's
fun.
really cool.
Yeah,
I'm really, really enjoying the game. So, I know what you're saying, but I think part of it is like, when you say it's not a great game, I feel like it's, if you kind of depending on the expectations of what the game is going for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I felt like we were showering it with praise, which it definitely does deserve praise in some aspects, but I just also wanted to temper some possible expectations. And like you said, who knows, maybe that was partially mine going in, thinking it was, you know, would be some, maybe bigger, I don't know exactly, but like I said, I am definitely enjoying it. You know, like I am doing the review for the site, so I can assure you it won't be getting a bad score, but you know what I mean?
No. It's funny you say that, because it's like, if this was an ugly game, I think, you know, I don't know what I think of the game, you know?
Yeah,
if it was the same game with ugly graphics, I probably wouldn't even like it.
Yeah, like I said,
I mean, it does so much to it. So,
like you said, it definitely, it's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It to me, the strongest aspect of this game is definitely its aesthetic. Which is not to say that it's bad gameplay, but or bad anything else, but like that is definitely I would say the defining aspect of this game is just how gorgeous it is, and it's a solid game to go with that.
Yes.
So. But yeah,
yes.
No, Fox and Forest definitely worth checking out. If nothing more, just
definitely
to see that
a great
beautiful
game.
Yeah. Must buy.
Yes. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for what we've been playing this week.
Yes, sir.
Brisk.
Yeah, brisk.
Because we're recording 2 days early.
And then we've got, probably a relatively normal eShop, then a brisk news section, then a little listener mail, and like I said, this might be a little bit shorter of an episode here, but
we'll see.
Yeah, we've said that before, so
we've said that before.
Alrighty, we are back, and it is time once again, Perry, for the
eShop Roundup. Yeehaw.
Yes, if you don't know what the eShop Roundup is, because you've been living under a rock or you've never heard
because this is your first
before.
episode.
Yep. We go through all the latest releases on the Switch eShop in the last week. And we are starting with Invisibles for $12.99. And what this is a really cool looking game. It calls itself Next Gen Hide and Seek.
Well, I was told I can't make any jokes, so I'm trying to keep quiet. But yes, this looks like a game.
I didn't say jokes. I said a specific kind of joke.
Well, if there's going to be a joke to be made, I believe it will be of that persuasion.
Well, it seems like it's kind of like I don't know exactly. But
it looks a little bit like Pac-Man. Like how the mazes are laid out like that on certain levels.
Yeah, it looks really cool. But
and
apparently, you're playing. It's a multiplayer game, and everyone controls an invisible ball inside a maze, and must capture a golden artifact to win the game. Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Cool. Next up, though, what do we got?
We've got Ice Cream Surfer for the Jimmy price of $8 on the schnoz. The evil broccoli, irritated by the fact that kids hate vegetables and love ice cream, has created an army of vegetables. Oh yeah, and love ice creams, has created an army of vegetables to destroy the flavor galaxy. Only the Ice Cream Surfer, with the help of his 4 super tasty friends, can prevent that. Yeah, this game looks sort of weird.
It's like a side-scrolling shmup.
Yeah,
it looks like.
And it's just like a ninja surfing on, it looks like
twin popsicle sticks.
Yeah, it's the twin popsicle sticks.
Yeah, this game looks really funny actually.
$8 though.
$8. Ice Cream Surfer. There you go. Next up we have Silver Star Chess, and that's one word.
Unless if you're looking at the logo. In which case, then it's 3 words.
Yeah. For $5.99, this looks like a very bare bones chess that you can play. It looks like you can play, against a computer or against the player. And that's it.
Yeah.
Easy to play traditional chess. $5.99. That's a good option for it. Why not?
Yeah, I forget how much Chess Ultimate was.
Chess Ultra. I think that was $14.99.
Yeah.
Like this next game.
Yeah, which a little more expensive, but like that's like a fancy schmancy.
Yeah.
And you can play online and stuff. But yeah, this next game here,
goodness,
as you said, is also $14.99, and that is White Knight, and that's night with an N, like nighttime.
Yeah.
And it says the dark will reveal all. Now this looks like an adventure puzzle game. Really cool art style, lots of black and white.
Very cool.
I mean,
This is from
probably
Plug-in
exclusively black and white, maybe. Although
I'm watching the trailer. It looks amazing.
yeah, it looks
Very cool.
looks interesting. Usually, I don't like those kind of games, but I really do dig
This
the art
game
style.
looks awesome. Wow. Do
Well,
we have
then,
a
we'll
review
buy
code
it.
for this? I will.
Right now.
Maybe I'll review it.
Buy it right now, Jimmy.
The dark will reveal all. But yeah, it's an adventure puzzle action game. So that looks really cool. Check that out. And you should never stop checking out the eShop, right, Case?
Yep, because you never know what game's gonna come up. Because this next game we've got here is Never Stop for $4.99.
From Pixel Split.
Now this is they're saying it listed as an arcade racing party action game.
This looks like golf. Like
party golf a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. But it looks like more based on racing.
Yeah,
so
more.
Looks fun. And it's $4.99.
Yeah, might not be a.
How long can you manage thrill of speed? This thrill of speed.
Thrill of speed? What are you talking about? You pervert.
Yeah. Well. Anyway. I don't know what that means. Next up, we have Fox in Forests, the game we just talked about for like a half hour.
Yep, you can go buy it right now if you wanted to.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't know how much it costs.
Me either. It's saying purchased,
but it's worth it.
I think it's $14.99, but
Yeah, it
might
totally worth
be
it.
$19.99. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, wow. And you can see on the eShop, it is a gorgeous game from the screenshot. So we weren't lying. Hey, we didn't mention the thing at the end of the level that's hilarious of every level.
Oh yeah. Well, I think we'll let that one be a surprise.
Yeah. That was good.
Hoo-wee! I'm relieved.
Yep.
And that ain't just because I went to the bathroom during the break.
And it ain't because you just ate that donut grilled cheese I just made for you. It's because a hamster toss has come, and it's not a fighting game, and it's not a shoot 'em up.
Oh, then it must be a sports game.
You got that right, and it's a really fun looking Baseball Stars Professional.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like a cool little baseball game. Looks sort of like, what an old style baseball game would play like as far as the gameplay goes. But it's got some cool, they're showing the scoreboard with little animations on there, and then it looks like the the girl hit a home run, so she's celebrating to the crowd. Sort of pretty cool in that sense.
It's what you should expect from the quality of the Neo Geo.
From the toss?
Yeah, from the hamster toss.
Now, next up here we have a Framed Collection, another collection for $8.99. Now, this, I've never played any of these games, but from what I gather, I know Adam did the review for the website he was talking about it, is that it's sort of like a comic book where there are, a couple of different frames on each screen, and you need to sort of shift them around for someone to be able to exit the area. I believe, I guess they're sort of doing a crime, maybe? Or maybe they just need to, I don't know the exact story or reason behind it, but essentially you're shifting these images around on the screen to sort of open up new areas for the person to get away from, and it looks actually pretty cool, to be honest with you.
It looks very cool, and yeah, check out our video review that Adam did on NWR-TV.
And awesome. And this comes with both Framed and Framed 2. So,
boom.
Another nice little collection.
Now, we have Johnny Turbo's back. I don't know if that's a good thing, but he's back.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he has brought us Super Burger Time, which I've heard of Burger Time.
Yeah.
I've never played it, though.
I've played the original Burger Time. Funny story, my mom, that's her... Actually, no, I lied. That's Dig Dug. She likes Dig Dug.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She probably hasn't played in 25 years, but yeah, no. Burger Time is actually a game I really liked on the NES. You
It's
sort
like
of
you're making a lot of massive whoppers.
Yep, and you got to run along like the top bun to knock down the lettuce, and you just sort of knock all these pieces down to form the burgers on the bottom. Like I said, I've never played this version, but Looks like it's probably pretty similar gameplay, and yeah, fun little game. $7.99.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Now this is
Next
another
up, though,
game we talked about. Another collection.
Fairune Collection. Yeah, it's collection day. There's this comes with Fairune, Fairune 2, Fairune Origin, and then if you beat all those,
Fairune Blast.
Blast. There you go. Yeah. Yep. Game looks great. We talked about it before.
Did it say how much?
$9.99.
Boom.
Yep.
This next game here I've heard a lot about. I've never actually played.
Yeah.
And it's a series, but this is only the first one. Banner Saga 1 for $19.99.
Yeah, this looks really cool. It's like an adventure game with like RPG turn-based elements, right?
I think it's a strategy RPG game.
Oh, okay.
So it's, I mean, like it'll have like, it has some good story and stuff too, but I think the actual gameplay I'm looking here looks like a, I don't want to say standard, but like, you know, your grid-based strategy RPG, turn-based. Yeah,
gotcha.
I've heard some good things, and I believe there are, you know, Banner Saga 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's coming.
Are coming to the Switch as well. So if you are missing out on some strategy RPG goodness, that could be a very good option to check out. Another game. What is this? The eShop of games we've all played?
Yeah, yes it is, because we have Yonder, the Cloud Catcher Chronicles, the game we talked about last week. Wonderful game. I don't know how much it costs.
I believe it is $39.99.
That's the physical version, I know.
Oh, so, is it? I'm not sure. Oh no. Okay, here you go. $29.99 for.
There you go.
For just the
Man,
digital copy.
Everyone go check out the screenshots. It's just the most gorgeous game.
Yeah, another really beautiful game. And I've got a video review up there on NWR TV. But
check that baby out.
Now, next up here, it's not quite the hamster toss.
No,
but it
the
is
hamster handler.
Yes, and it's Henry the Hamster Handler for $3.69.
The ancient art of hamster alchemy. A long-forgotten lore until now.
Yeah, it looks like a strange little puzzle game that's sort of just ramping up the silliness of of being a hamster handler. So.
Yeah, and it's only $3.69.
Low bar of entry if you wanted to check that one out.
Yeah, looks fun. And next up, we have a game that I've heard much about. And again, I didn't realize this was already out. The Little Nightmares Complete Edition.
Play with your childhood fears.
Yeah, so apparently this is a horror game.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's like a platforming horror game. And, yeah, it's strange because, you know, a platformer, you know, you might not expect to be the scariest of games. You know, you wouldn't normally attach that to the horror genre. But I've actually heard this game does definitely have some freaky and scary moments. You know, you're sort of like a helpless... I don't know if you're a child or... I mean, I guess so, right? Play with your childhood fears. I think it's supposed to be, you know, you're a child and everything is much bigger and scarier than you are. So you're sort of, you know, you feel, you know... insignificant in the world, and this is definitely a game I'd like to check out at some point.
I would love to play this game.
It looks very, you know, atmospherical, very beautiful. Yeah, do it. I dare you. Do it. I'll wait.
I'm not going to. But I feel it's weird it says Complete Edition, but there's 2 downloadable contents that are masks for 99 cents each.
Yeah.
Masks.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but I guess that's silly. Sort of the all-in-one edition for Embark on the with 6 and so I'm thinking there must have been like a story DLC of some sort that's included as well, and then I guess they sort of want to double dip if they can with some extra little masks. What is cool is that you can use your Pac-Man amiibo. Remember to get a little like Pac-Man because of the Namco ties.
So cool. Yeah, that's great. Now, last up we have Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, a game that I've been really trying to not buy. and I've been successful so far.
Do it. Do it.
You do it. I'll do it if you do it.
I've already bought it and played the crap out of it twice.
Well, I've already bought it and played the crap out of it once.
So get on my level.
Nope.
I will not
get this
lie
game someday.
that yeah, there is definitely some fibers in my being that want me to purchase this game because to me, and I'm sure to many other people, it is just junk food gaming. You know what I mean? And I mean that in the most sincere and best way possible. It's easy to pick up and play. And not pay attention to it like at all, but still have a lot of fun. You know what I mean? It's the perfect like, oh, the Mets are on TV. Like, let me play some Hyrule Warriors, where I just destroy tons, thousands of enemies and get to watch the Mets lose.
Yep, and this has everything you'd possibly want. You could take on the go. You can put it on the TV. You can play co-op. It has the stuff from the new mode. It has all of the characters. Oh,
it has definitely earned its title as the definitive edition.
But here's the thing, and everyone needs to know. Oh my goodness, go to NWRTV and check out the comparison that John Raridan did between this and the Wii U version. It is completely different. The Wii U version is like super darker. Like way darker. And it looks like a completely different game.
And I think some of the models in like as far as not character models, but for buildings and environment, like they look very flat on the Wii U. You know, like more of a texture than an actual polygonal object. And it feels like they sort of bumped up a lot in the Switch version, which, like I said, is sort of a nice surprise because I would have figured they'd probably look almost identical. Like I figured, of course, some lighting and some more nuanced things, but there was a surprisingly big difference actually. Yeah.
And we are going to be doing a video also that has to do with Hyrule Warriors. We're going to keep it a secret, but it's going to be fun. So coming up soon on NWRTV.
So do it, buy it.
I'm not going to buy it in the eShop.
I would buy it physical. This is a game for me that could, if there's a lull and, it did for some reason see a sale.
Lullaby.
Lullaby. And I did see a sale, could pick it up, but luckily I've got plenty of other games, ready for me to play.
You're almost literally drowning in games. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about that before. Like, I almost sent out a tweet like, I'm so tempted to buy this, but luckily, like, I got so much other stuff to play. But then I realized, that might come off as me just be like, I've got so many games to play. So I was like,
don't be proud of that, sir.
I know, I was like, no, I just want to play my junk games.
Yeah. My junk games. Anyway, with that, we are done with the eShop Roundup, and it is time to get into a very important aspect of our job, and that's delivering you the
News Talk with Casey Gibson.
Now, of course, as we've already stated before, we're recording this on Sunday when our normal day is Tuesday night. So, from the gap of when we recorded to now, there hasn't been a ton of news. Luckily, actually, a bit of news came out like 2 minutes before we started recording, and that is going to be our second piece here. But the first piece is actually pretty depressing news. Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked is no more. Well, not exactly. They have canceled the program moving forward, but if you have an active membership, you will still reap the benefits. So, you'll still get your 20% off and your points back and all that jazz. So, for me, I have it until September 2019. So I'll still get,
Oh, wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, well, really, it's just the most unbelievable deal of all time. I wish I had gotten on board sooner.
It is.
It's
right.
$30 for it was $30 for 2 years, and 20% off any game, no matter when you purchased it. Like I know Amazon was limited to pre-orders, so if you pre-ordered the game, you get 20% off. And they used to do up to 2 weeks after it came out. Then they did it where it was just pre-order, and I believe that's still how it operates now. But for Best Buy, you could go, like, I could go buy Grand Theft Auto
Any
5, it's been out for years, and I'll get 20% off that.
You buy any game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Any game, any amiibo, anything, right?
I think they actually stopped doing it on the amiibo, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't, honestly, thank God I haven't bought an amiibo in a long while, so. But, pretty depressing news. So now you can no longer resubscribe or subscribe, if you hadn't already. But at least the benefits will continue, until it's all over but the crying.
I wonder if there's going to be some sort of replacement of something. It's obviously not going to be as good, but I wonder if they're going to do something to keep people buying it, because I think that's going to...
at the way I buy games, and I know, and I actually should say I feel like I haven't bought too many physical games lately, with Donkey Kong and Hyrule Warriors sort of, would have been games I'd be all over, but luckily I'm withholding. But, for me, even if it was $50 for 1 year, I feel like that would still be so beneficial.
$30 for 1 year?
Well, no, I'm saying even if they bumped it up to $50. For 1 year would be something, 20% off. I'd buy enough games that it would pan out. But
yeah, it's interesting that they didn't do that route instead of just canceling it.
Or even just knock it down to $30 for 1 year, and then if that didn't work, keep pushing forward. But I guess maybe just the end result, is not looking what they want to do, and I don't know. Maybe Amazon's eating their lunch with Prime. I have no idea, but. That just means I'm going to have to go back to Amazon freaking Prime, but at some point. But luckily, or I should say hopefully by that point I have a mailbox in which I can send my games to. But
yep.
I digress. Now, the next bit of news came over, and I thought you were completely joking with me.
I know.
And I almost was like, what a horrible attempt at a troll. Like, you didn't sound enthusiastic. You didn't. I was like, oh, but you weren't trolling me at all.
No, I wasn't. Resident Evil 7 cloud version has been announced. It could be even out by the time this is posted.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
At least in Japan.
Yeah, Resident Evil 7 cloud version coming May 24th in Japan, which, will be the day this launches, so it will already be out in Japan. Now, it runs through the cloud, so you're not actually purchasing the full game to play offline. This is new news, so we're not exactly sure if this means that you can only play, you download the full game and you can only play while online, which doesn't seem likely. The
download is megabytes big.
So you're probably just downloading an icon and, the boot up to the internet program or whatever the heck. That is so strange.
It's it will require an internet to play 2,000 yen for a 6-month rental.
So what's that, $20 give or take? It generally sort of gets around there. It's weird for 6 months. So that means as long as you have a stable internet. And, I guess that's really going to be what it boils down to. Because then, this, Resident Evil games aren't long. So you could easily beat this game 25 times over in 6 months. You know what I mean? So for $20 to play the entirety of Resident Evil 7, and that includes the DLCs, Banned Footage Volume 1 and 2, The End of Zoe, and Not a Hero DLC. So, I don't know. It's
so weird.
It is so weird.
It's not what I wanted.
No, I wanted a physical copy so I could buy it.
Exactly.
Honestly, I would even be okay if it was... I don't know if I'd repurchase it. Maybe I would. If it was just digital only, but it was the full version, I'd purchased it and downloaded it.
I don't want that, though, because it takes up too much... that'll be a huge game.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're doing the cloud...
I think that's why they are doing it, because they don't want to pay for the card, and they don't want to, and people won't buy it because it's too big.
Interesting. I really am curious to see how this works, because it's so funny. They could have waited a couple weeks, revealed this if this was a physical copy at E3, and people would be going bananas. and instead it's like the middle of a Sunday night, and I know in Japan it's Monday morning, so it's just funny to be.
Yeah.
It's so random.
I know, and right before we record on the off day, it's so weird.
So weird.
This is something you predicted, I think. See, we really need to do a recap episode. We're gonna do a recap of our predictions, our 2018 predictions before our E3 predictions this year. We gotta make sure we get that out because I listened to a little bit of that episode a few weeks ago, and I was surprised that actually stuff that I did and you now have completely got right. So we should give props to where
we
props
should
is
pat
due.
ourselves on the back for an hour or so.
We should. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You're all right,
yeah,
Perry.
I'm giving this a win. This is a win for you, Case. You said it. You got it. Even you barely did.
Well, I
it.
think the most impressive thing about my prediction was that I actually called the cloud, version. I mean,
yeah.
Some people might have said Resident Evil 7, but to go as far as to say it would be cloud version only, I mean, they should practically just hire me. Come on, I know, like
you called it, man. When you said cloud version back in December, I thought you meant like Cloud from Final Fantasy was going to be in it. And this makes a lot more sense now.
Well, the funny thing is that I actually meant both. So you're going to play Resident Evil 7, and you're going to see like they're going to have a little Cloud amiibo inside the baker's house.
Oh, okay. Joke went too far.
Nope.
Yeah, this game looks really cool. I will definitely, depending on how it works. I think I have a pretty good internet, so I think this should work for me. But as long as it's not just complete and utter crap, I definitely want to play this game. So.
Hopefully it isn't crap, because I'd love to hear first and foremost your thoughts on the game. But I'm now very curious to see how the service works. So for $20, you're gonna try.
To me, To me, it sounds like a nightmare. Just streaming a game just sounds so stupid and awful and bad. But we'll see.
Yeah, fingers crossed that it can work out.
Capcom gonna be Capcom.
Yep.
Am I right?
They gotta save some monies.
Yep. Well, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into our topic of the show, which is listener mail.
Ooh-wee.
All right, we are back, and it is time for
listener mail. Yeah.
That's right, listener mail. We have a couple of emails from some very sweet people that we love, and the first one is from Dan, not good old Dan. He just put Dan here.
I bet he's a pretty good old Dan too, but not the good old Dan.
He's not the good, but yeah, Dan. He said, do you want to take it, Case?
Yeah, I could take this one. He says, "Hey, Talk Nintendo podcast crew. First off, I want to apologize if you mentioned this in your last podcast. I'm an episode behind, which I think this email came in 2 episodes, so technically he's caught up, but now he might still be behind. Anyway, things have been hectic for me this month. Anyway, I read something about Neon Chrome getting DLC, and it got me curious about the game. I've heard you guys talk about it in the podcast before, and I was wondering, what's better, Enter the Gungeon or Neon Chrome? And by better, I would define as more fun, better graphics, better music/sound, more replayability, and he also asks what we thought of Star Fox Guard Pre, which we already talked about last week, so we're not going to necessarily dive into that again. But he goes on to say, all right, thanks, guys. Keep up the good work, Dan. And
the great work. He didn't say good
work. I
sold
ourselves short.
Yep.
But yeah, okay, so I feel like this question right here will be better aimed to you because you've played both. But
I have.
I guess to say my little piece on Enter the Gungeon is that it is definitely a fun but very, very tough game. I feel like when I thought, or I should say when I first started playing, I thought it was going to be sort of like where Binding of Isaac, where you go through tons and tons of layers. You're sort of, it's quick to get to the next layer or level below. Where I feel like in Enter the Gungeon, it wasn't so quick, and I feel like I never got past like the third or fourth level. Like the difficulty ramps up super duper quick. And
yeah,
I don't want to say that's discouraging, but it was definitely something I thought, was a little different going into it. But that being said, it is absolutely delightful. The graphics, I love the enemy design. So funny that like everything's bullets and everything's gun
These
related.
Little waddling bullets, dude.
And
so
then
cute.
they're holding like shotguns, and you know what I mean. And it's just, it is so over the top. I absolutely adore Enter the Gungeon. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like I said, you got to play both of these, so you are you are more qualified to answer this question.
Yeah, this is a tough question for me. I mean, because I'm glad that he defined what better is to him. Because, like you just said, Enter the Gungeon, what a fantastic game. I reviewed it for NWR. I absolutely love the game, and it's exactly what you just said. It's really fun. It's super hard. It's very demanding. But yeah, it's more of a roguelike than a roguelite, which Neon Chrome is, because this is where I would say I like Neon Chrome better, because it pushed me and hooked me to where I had to beat it, and it was so much fun till the very end. The way Neon Chrome is set up, it's very similar to Enter the Gungeon, actually, except you're working up a building instead of going down in layers. It's room based. It's a twin stick shooter, just like the other one. The nice thing about Neon Chrome, and this is so weird because, I'm gonna ask you, in Enter the Gungeon, do you remember if the controls work to where if you with your right stick, if you push it to one side, it'll stay there, or did you always have to be pushing that direction to shoot that direction? Because I'm pretty sure you always have to keep pushing with the right stick. Like if you want to shoot right, you'll have to hold it right. Otherwise, it'll just go in the direction that your character's facing.
Now, I don't want to say for complete certainty, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. You do need to continuously push where you aim. But I should also say that's, I feel like, just how I normally play. So even if that wasn't an option, I feel like that's how I would have most likely played anyway.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but it's actually a pretty big difference to me. The way the 10 ton shooters are is you push in a direction and your character will stay that way. That way you can kind of relax your right finger, and just use your left stick to move in that way. And it's just really nice. And that's one thing I really like over Enter the Gungeon. But I just can't remember for the life of me if Enter the Gungeon had that, because
I feel like it does. I feel like it does.
You feel like you can just leave it?
No. Sorry, I feel like you have to keep pushing.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. But as for like fun, like Neon Chrome, you are constantly getting upgrades for yourself. And not only that, like you're getting upgrades to your weapons to use, and then you can upgrade those weapons, and you can upgrade parts of you. I mean, it's a constant thing where even when you do these runs and you die, you gain this money that you can now spend on yourself to upgrade, so then you'll get further, and you can set things up the way you like to play better. So you can set up if you want to have your attack more, or your more defense or speed or anything. I mean, it has everything there, and it is so satisfying because it's you can feel it as you can actually, it's like an instant upgrade, so you can feel. So Neon Chrome was like at the beginning of it, and I said this on the podcast, I was like, oh, like what is this game? Like I don't really get it. I'm not really digging it at all. I got through and I played, and within like a half hour, I realized, okay, this is actually pretty cool. And then like 2 hours in, it's like, oh my goodness, this is like one of my favorite games.
I'm hooked.
It was just so much fun. Yeah, it was, because it's like once you get that, when you fully understand and utilize the upgrade system, it feels so good. And then, so what you'll do, and this is something that I don't think Gungeon has, but you're going up in levels, so there'd be like, I don't know, let's say there's 8 levels, 8 different rooms that you have to go through, and then you'll get a boss. This is in Neon Chrome. You'll get a boss, and once you beat that boss, basically, that unlocks like the next chapter. And then when you die, you can start, if you want to, from that second chapter. You don't have to play through the whole game again. Now, do you want to do that is the question. Because like for me, I could do that, and maybe you want to do some recon work, see what's actually going to be there. But you're going to be severely limited if you don't play through the beginning, because you don't have the upgrades, because you'll get tons of upgrades, so that you're decked out by the time you get to the second level. So you know what I mean? So but it does give you that option, and it might make it easier. Some people, might build themselves up and they'll just want to go straight from the second level or the third or the fourth. But yeah, and then once it's a really solid way through. Whereas I feel like Gungeon pushed me off with its insane difficulty, where Neon Chrome is still insane, but you are rewarded for playing, and it becomes easier, and you get better, and it's that wonderful feeling, of getting better. So, but it's like this is hard for me to say, because Enter the Gungeon, where I say the visuals are so much better, in my taste.
Yeah, more unique with the, especially with
pixely.
the enemy design,
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, it's just full of charm and wittiness and cuteness and funny descriptions of things, and and it's perfect. So
yeah, I
don't want to. I'm not putting Enter the Gungeon down at all. I love the game, but it's like putting it up against Neon Chrome is tough for me, because I love Neon Chrome so much.
Yeah, and I would say, just real quick, while I haven't played Neon Chrome, obviously a couple weeks ago I talked about Tesla versus Lovecraft, and that is a 10-ton shooter. And as far as the game mechanics go, and I know for Tesla it is definitely sort of a different.
It's very similar.
Well, I was going to say, like, more so the level format, how it's like, you base through your levels kind of thing.
Yeah.
But as far as the controls, from what I understand, all the 10-ton sort of play pretty similar. I like the gameplay of Tesla more than I do Enter the Gungeon. Enter the Gungeon is more calculated. You sort of take a room more slowly, and of course it gets hectic and on certain points of the game, of course. But where I feel like with the 10 tons is more just like balls to the wall, lots going on, hectic, more quick, fast paced, and I think I sort of like that style of gameplay a little bit more.
Yeah, but that's Tesla. It's not like that in Neon Chrome as much, because it's more calculated, like Enter the Gungeon for sure.
Gotcha.
But it still has that spirit though. But I guess what I'm trying to say here, Dan, is that you should get both. But I know that some people are limited. But I would say, honestly, give Neon Chrome a shot if you're looking into which one to get. Especially, like you said, they came out with some new DLC, which I have to go back and check out. It's a very fun game. It's definitely my favorite 10 Tons game. And I really want a sequel. And if you buy it, it ups that chance. But then again, I really want a sequel to Enter the Gungeon too. So, so more fun, better graphics, better music sound. I'd probably say that Gungeon has better music sound, more replayability. I'd say Neon Chrome, just because you have the constant upgrade system. Better graphics would be Enter the Gungeon for me if you dig really sweet, slick pixel graphics. But Neon Chrome's not bad looking. It's a cool looking game. It's just futuristic and cool. More fun, and I would just say, just because of the diversity and everything, I would say Neon Chrome too. So, yeah.
Boom, boom.
Anyway, yep. So thank you for that email, Dan. And keep them coming. We're going to pimp this as much as we can, but please email us. You can email Perry at NintendoWorldReport.com. You can email Casey
Don't
at
you dare.
NintendoWorldReport.com. Oh, please, everyone. Send a message to Casey. Or you can just do Talk Nintendo Podcast at NintendoWorldReport.com. Yes, you heard me. Talk Nintendo Podcast at NintendoWorldReport.com. The longest Talk Nintendo Podcast.
Speaking of very long, I believe this
15
next email
syllables
here
there.
is very long as
15
well.
syllables. Yes. So our next email that was sent to Talk Nintendo Podcast at NintendoWorldReport.com is from our friend Gary Croxford. Good old Gary. Remember we announced he was back a few episodes, and he gave us his Detective Pikachu review, which he mentions here. But what we're going to do is we're going to read through. So I asked, now I got to say this was solicited. I asked him for his thoughts. He let us know that he played through The Bunker and through Late Shift, two FMV games that I played through. And I've been waiting to talk about Late Shift because I wanted to kind of use his email as a discussion to talk about. And that way we can let Casey know how it is and everything. So, Casey, if you could start off with the first two paragraphs there.
Sure. He says, "Hi, guys. Just want to thank you both for the opportunity to write in again and send my thoughts on a pair of games this time. My last Detective Pikachu review was a little tongue-in-cheek, and I'll make this one a little bit more serious. On the always entertaining Talk Nintendo podcast a couple weeks ago, Perry mentioned the game The Bunker, which I had seen on the good old eShop, but because of the tidal wave of games released on it, I won't lie, it had passed me by. Finding out it was a full-motion video game piqued my interest. I'm a child of the early 80s and fondly remember the CD-ROMs first made the appearance on multimedia PCs of the early 90s. Great enhanced games like Rebel Assault and made this old DOS machine, I had suddenly come into life with stamp-sized video, but video and voice nevertheless."
Yeah, so So he's saying they had FMV games, full motion video games, as a stamp-sized, and I haven't actually seen Rebel Assault, but is that Star Wars? Sounds like a Star Wars thing.
Sounds like it could be, but
anyway,
could also be a knockoff.
This idea that there's video and voice, I mean, way back when in the good old days when you played on old DOS machines. But it's cool, you know? Anyway, he goes on to say, another type of game to come out of this time was the FMV game. There were a number of ones where you clicked hot boxes on the screen to guide your occasionally animated character between recorded video scenes to make the story play out. At primary school, I spent a lot of time reading choose-your-own-adventure books. I'll admit I sometimes cheated by finding the best ending, then noted which pages you had to get to that ending, then running through the story backwards.
Cheater!
You cheated at books.
That's it. No, we're cutting this email off.
Yep. Nobody likes the okay ending in video games. Think the original Metroid, etc. And it was the same for books back in the day. So he's trying to justify his actions case.
Yep. Sounds like a cheater.
If you want to go on.
He goes on to say, so when I saw the eShop mention of The Bunker, that it was a FMV game, choose your own adventure, that was already recommended by Sir Burkham himself, I was sold. This story is very interesting, conjuring feelings of isolation in a post-nuclear war world combined with the creeping dread of 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yes.
Very good movie. Here, World War III happens in 1984, and the story starts a few short weeks later in the bunker in the UK, one of many countries totally destroyed by the Soviet atomic weaponry.
Yes. So, yeah, like I said before, this takes place in the 80s after World War III in the bunker. Really cool. Really cool. Gary goes on to say, being ex-military myself, I really appreciated the attention to detail in the many audio recordings, maps, and paper, as well as computer reports which flesh out the story further for those more curious. The game makers here really did their homework and recreate a late Cold War bunker with great accuracy. You might be interested to know that this game was filmed at the secret nuclear bunker at a place called Kelvindon Hatch, a few short miles from where I lived in England. And then he sent us this really, really funny sign that shows like nuclear bunker this way, which is really funny. So yes, the bunker. This is the first game that we're talking about. This is really more. This is FMV more of an adventure game, so you can kind of wander through different scenarios and look into things and read through things, like a point and click, a lot more like so. Different from Light Shift. But he goes on to say to end about the bunker. He says, "I personally never saw. Well, you know what? I might not." Anyway, he goes on to talk about something. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, skip really. That part.
He says he really likes it. He likes the game. He says, with the horde of roguelikes, which seem to make up the bulk of the Switch eShop.
Oh man, the Switch.
The Switch shop.
It's so funny because I saw exactly how that happened. Because it's a Switch eShop.
Yeah, Switch.
I don't know why that's making me laugh so hard.
Anything to make you laugh, buddy. This game was a very welcome change of pace. I can't recommend it more. And I gotta say, this is so refreshing to hear, Gary, because I felt the same exact way when I played through. I was like, yes, like this game is really fun. Like it's relaxing in a sense. There's some really fun and thrilling parts to it. It builds up really well, but I mean, it's not just a super fast-paced action setting that that we're used to in video games now. And I just felt it was a nice kind of breath of fresh air. Like it really was. So when I recommended it on the show, I was just kind of thinking, well, I don't want people to get this, and I hope I explained it well, and it's kind of scary when it's like, well, it's really not, it can't be everyone's cup of tea,
Yeah, this one is definitely, I feel like, for a certain set of people. But right. Like you said, they generally probably have a good idea if it is for them, sort of just hearing a broad explanation, But
exactly.
All right, Gary continues. I liked it so much, I immediately purchased Late Shift by the same UK-based developers. The game went a similar but different direction and is much more of an interactive movie, as opposed to a click-your-own adventure like The Bunker was. Late Shift is set in a modern-day London and involves fast cars, fast women, triad gangs, and murder and intrigue.
Fast women. Yeah, so like I was mentioning before, The Bunker was very much a point and click along with the movie based game, and this one really is really a movie that you will have like kind of two options to pick from when something's to make decisions, so that you can kind of choose to play it out how you want.
So does it almost feel feel like a Telltale game? Or does it feel more like, I'm trying to think of, like, remember, like, the Resident Evil 4 like action commands game. Where it was like, you just need to press A real quick, otherwise you're going to die.
No, it's like a Telltale game. I mean, you have actions, and what you do directly affects what's happening in the movie. And it just feels like, it feels totally like a modern-day movie. I mean, same production quality, like Taken, you know what I mean? Like it's like one of those movies, like an action movie. But you get to do I'll go on and read what Gary says. The gameplay mechanics are like sudden QuickTime events, where you suddenly have to choose between a few set of choices at story branches, or to mash a button to overcome a foe or grueling situation when necessary. Late Shift definitely benefited from a much larger budget this time around, and the acting makes you really care about the main protagonist. Again, I really enjoyed the couple of hours it took to play through my first time, but when I got to the end, I found out that it was one of 7 different endings possible. Yeah, I think it might have actually been 8. I think I want to say there's 8 So I think that there's maybe
seven
more
other
to unlock.
seven other
Yeah,
endings.
yeah. And he goes on, cue the 8-year-old me wanting to backtrack through the story and see all the endings. Cheater! Or just check YouTube. There it is. Cheater!
That's what I'd do.
No, yeah, totally. Yeah. At the end, it shows you kind of like how many parts of the story you unlocked at, and like I was surprised that I saved the. Actually, you know what, Casey, tell a joke or something. Do you know any jokes?
No, but I can sort of ramble on here for a half second
Ramble
about
on for
it.
10 seconds.
Yeah, it almost sounds to me like 999. Do you remember that game for the DS? Where, to an extent, at least sort of with the multiple different endings, although 999 was sort of like Panic Room, more puzzly, where this doesn't necessarily sound like that. But, yeah, I don't know.
See, this is no puzzles.
Yeah, so they don't sound like...
It is literally video playing, and then you will have choices, and then the video, you have 3 seconds to make this choice, and then it'll go on.
So it sounds like
the whole
nothing
time.
like 999.
No,
aside from the multiple endings.
Exactly. So at the end, it doesn't show you every decision you make, but it says like, endings unlocked. Okay, it does say 1 of 7. Never mind, he was right. Gary's right. I was wrong. There's not 8. There's 7. The chapter. Here's the thing. It says chapters found. So that's what I was trying to talk about. So I found 12 out of 14 chapters while playing through. So there's 2 chapters I didn't even see of the movie, of the game. That's cool, right? And then so you go back and make different decisions. And then it says decisions made 56. So I think you could literally just watch it as a movie and let it make the choices and go through it. And it's like 2 hours and it's just like watching a movie. So, that's cool.
So what did you like better? Did you like having the ability of more of a point and click adventure, or do you like sort of just making the decisions more, this or that and seeing how it played out?
You know what? For me, that's a tough choice because I get that the step up that Late Shift is, the streamlined version, taking out kind of a little bit of the silly gameplay mechanics of the bunker, like just having to touch the door to open it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the point and click stuff, which is kind of cool. And I enjoy it because it's a different experience. Like I was saying, it's a relaxed, more character building.
It's more of a
part,
story
like
being told to you.
You can see how characters react. You can decide how they react. You'll get, I don't know, even though there's like one character in the first one. I mean, there's more than that, but I just think it's a lot more slow paced and it's just a way different kind of experience. And so I think that the bunker made a way better impact on me than Late Shift. I think I liked it more, but like then again, I feel like I would be in the minority with that. I think that most people would like Late Shift more because it's it's fat, it's a lot more smooth. But Gary says, do you know what TLDR is?
Too long, didn't read. So that's pretty much just everything we just said.
Oh, I've never heard that before. Anyway, he says, great FMV games like a point-and-click choose-your-adventure with World War III twists. The other, an interactive movie with enough twists and turns to give you 7 separate endings. Both of these are a brilliant and welcome change of pace from the eShop. Which I just think it's so great that me and Gary are on the same page, because he did go on to say on Twitter that he likes Pepsi. So I kind of forgot about that, and I wish that we wouldn't have read his email.
Well, I almost just called him a big gym bot, being in line with you, but then Pepsi Man, he's A-okay in my book.
What was he in line with me about again?
Nothing.
I can't remember what it was. What was it? Tell me.
I don't remember.
I can't remember either. I'm sorry.
There's too many things. I've got the worst memory. So
yeah, you're thinking if he agrees with me about late shift and the bunker, that he must be a gym bot. That's what you're saying.
I'm just saying, if you agree with Perry, there's a good chance.
Yeah, it's true. So he ends the email saying, "Look forward to whatever this dev has in store for the future. which they're coming out with a new game in the next couple weeks. A new movie game.
Another
FMV
FMV.
game. Yes, I'm super excited, and I don't have the information now, but hopefully I can get a code for that, and we can talk about that too. So, yeah. He says, "Cheers, guys! Thanks very much for the opportunity to write in. Hope it's not too long. I gotta say it was very long, but and I couldn't cut it down. I tried.
Well,
I didn't want to.
Yeah.
It's good old Gary. I can't.
You could have cut it down just to the TLDR.
Yeah, but I didn't want to.
No, I know, of course.
It says, "Take care and all the best, Gary. P.S. Keep up the great work. Love listening to y'all on a Friday a.m."
Well, thank you very much for the email. And luckily, we needed... there was time to be filled with this whole scheduling conflict, recording early, not having enough games to talk about.
Randy.
Yeah, big old Randandle got to pick up her big head from the airport. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, no, I think it turned out to be a pretty good little show. We, not a lot of news, but we got nice little, Capcom was like, we'll give you a big juicy bone to chew on right before recording there. And yeah, always good to listen, or I should say read some emails.
We're not done yet.
Oh, I forgot. Jimmy's got some Jimmy Jams.
But yeah, before we do that, I do want to say thank you so much, Dan and Gary. I know we keep saying that, but thank you so much for sending in emails. Please send in more emails. Anyone listening to the show can send us emails, and we like questions and funny things or comments, concerns. I hate you. I love Casey, and I hate Perry. You don't know how many emails I've had to delete.
Yep. Don't worry, I'll see them all.
Yeah, he sees them all.
I've got them all hanging up on my wall here.
Yeah, he does. He needs constant reassurance.
The Perry hatred wall. No, it's not even so much that it's praise for me as much as it's just hatred being slung towards you. They can hate me too, but as long as they hate you.
That's yes, but
I'll drag my name through the dirt if it means hurting you. I'm just kidding. But yes, I forgot. I nearly forgot about this little bit because you sort of snuck it in there at the end of Gary's huge email. That was great. But
well, I didn't. I also told you at the very beginning of the episode, if that's what you mean by snuck.
But
in
normally
there.
I just don't listen to anything you say.
Same with me to you, buddy. Yes, it's time for the Craigslist Roundup.
Craigslist Roundup.
Yes, if you don't know what this is, I like to buy things off Craigslist from
strangers,
people. Yeah, from people. And they sell a lot of things, and a lot of times I get really good. I only get the good deals because then
if it ain't good, you don't buy it.
Yeah, exactly. And I have I bought two 3DSs this week. One was just an original black Cosmo Black 3DS, and a DS Lite, a white one that came with like 12 games. Got that for $65.
Both for $65?
Yeah,
not too scabby. Any decent games or just sort of fodder?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, there was a Layton game, and then there was like a Call of Duty game, which those are really. I like the DS ones. I think there's another one, but the rest was just kind of fodder. But I actually gave that to my friend's son for his birthday. The DS. It's perfect gift.
Ooh.
And then now I have a Cosmo Black 3DS. And then the other thing I picked up was the Legend of Zelda limited edition black 3DS. Do you know that one with like the gold inlay on it?
Yep.
The original. Yeah, I got that for $40.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What's that switch up for?
Oh, I think you can sell them for. I think they're at least like 110. I think used in acceptable conditions.
Oh, so you're gonna get a nice little turnaround on that puppy.
Oh yeah, I always do. Then I get more.
and then you buy Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'll try to find that. Hopefully, someone on Craigslist is a gym bot.
I'll sell you my Wii U version for $30.
Dude, that game probably is still $60 in store. That game like never went down in price.
Yeah, I don't.
So I never got it.
I wonder.
It never went down in price. It's crazy.
I bet you Nintendo's like, GameStop, don't even list it for Wii U anymore.
Probably.
No, look, you could buy it used for $15 from GameStop, Wii U version.
I would never buy it.
Well,
especially after watching John Reardon's video.
Yeah. Now that you've seen the light, literally.
Oh man, literally yes. But yeah, just a couple of quick little things I picked up there. The two 3DSs, I thought was kind of funny. That there were two black 3DSs, but I like my 3DSs. Contrary to what I say, they're cute little things.
Yeah, your 3DS purchasing privileges should be revoked after the way you speak about it. You monster.
Yeah. Yep, but you know what? They haven't, because I live in America. Anyway, that's it for Craigslist Roundup.
And that's going to be it for this episode as well.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Of course. You can always check us out on Twitter at Talk Nintendo Pod. That's Talk Nintendo
POD.
And you should, I mean, I hate to, beat a dead horse into the ground here. I know we've mentioned checking out NWR TV on YouTube, but another challenge has gone up, and this time it features myself, Perry, and one Mr. David Lloyd, who is a monster who doesn't like Donkey Kong, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it's a pretty good challenge. We actually jump back into some Wii U goodness, Super Mario 3D World, and we have ourselves a little race.
Yes.
And
what a beautiful game.
Yeah, I think the video came out really well, and I think it was a good challenge, and we'd really appreciate it if you guys went and checked that out. But
please,
that's enough shilling of our YouTube over there. I think I am ready to go get some food inside me. That is not a donut.
All right. I think I'm ready to go to bed.
You baby.
Little big dirt ball.
But yes, once again, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you next week with a normal, jam-packed episode, as always.
Giddy up.
Poodles.
Pay the dang badger.
All right, let's.
Depends how long your bathroom break is, Case.
Yep, and nature's calling, so we better take a break.
I had a gyro today.
Oh, did you?
So my bathroom break might be a little longer, if you know what I mean.
I've had 3 donuts.
What kind of donuts?
Well, the first one was just a classic glazed donut.
Oh, yeah.
Then the second, and these were spread out throughout the day. I did not just house 3 donuts in a row. The second one was
that's ridiculous.
A blueberry donut, which is, it's really more like a...
Cake?
Yeah, it's more cakey than, yeah.
Yeah, cake donut.
Yeah, and that's
called a cake donut.
Fantastic. And then I had another, another glaze to wrap it up.
Another classic glaze.
Another classic.
You should have just taken
J.
those and made a... You should have just called that a blueberry cake donut sandwich.
Oh baby, that's I should have eaten them all at once. But
have you ever had a grilled cheese made with a glazed donut?
I have not.
Oh,
And I don't know if I ever really want
I had
to.
once. No, you do. It's amazing. You know what? I'll cook you one up right now during the break. Okay.
All right. Get fired.
You cheated at books.
I think something's wrong with her. I checked this morning, and there was water in the exhaust.